Good morning, grade 10 students. Welcome to our class. I am your teacher, Ajime Aswagai. I am looking forward to have a meaningful learning experience with you.
This morning, we will learn to compose text which include multimodal elements. Specifically, we will identify the elements of multimodals, transcode emojis into plain text or word, and create instructional video or script for presentation using animated images. But before anything else, please bring out your self-learning modules, your pens, and your notebooks as we continue our lesson for today.
Class, what is communication? Yes, communication is an exchanges of ideas or opinions, voice, and through text. What else? But do you know that because of the advent of the technology, communication evolved itself?
In other words, communication is the act of developing meaning among entities or groups through the use of sufficiently mutually understood signs, symbols, and semiotic conventions. When we say semiotic conventions, it refers to shapes, lines, graphs, and many more. Multimodal text is a combination of written language, spoken language, and patterns of meaning like visual, audio, gestural, tactile, and spatial.
Multimodal texts have three categories. Do you know what are those? The three categories of multimodal text are digital multimodal text, live multimodal text, and lastly is visual multimodal text.
Examples of multimodal are picture books, textbooks, graphic novels, comics, and posters. Digital multimodal text are film, animation, slideshows, e-posters, digital stories, web pages. And live multimodal text are dance, performances, and oral storytelling, while visual multimodal text are representation of people, objects, and places.
But before we continue our discussion, do you want to play a game first? Come on, let's know if you know how to interpret symbols or emojis in the following given texts.
Let's try number 1. As you can see, we have a heart here with the broken lines. And next, we have a time or a clock. What's the answer? Yes, it is break time. And now, it is your turn to do numbers 2 to 5. Good luck! Let's check your answers. Very good! You're doing great!
Let's continue our discussion. There are 5 elements or modes of multimodal text. First, visual. Second, oral or audio. Third, gestural. Fourth, linguistic or alphabetic. And 5, spatial.
Let's begin with number 1, visual. This refers to the images and characters that people see and it relies its meaning on visual information. Visual is another term for still image. As you can see in our example, we have a red circle with a red line across the gun, meaning to stop gun or no guns are allowed. Second, we have oral or audio. This focuses on sounds, but not limited to music, sound effects, ambient noises, silence, tone of voice in spoken language, volume of sound, emphasis, and accent. Our example is we have recorded speech and musical backgrounds. Let's listen to this music. After hearing it, what do you feel? Yes, it is used so that the mood can be built for sci-fi or suspense movies. Next is gestural. It refers to the way movement is interpreted, such as facial expressions, hand gestures, body language, and interaction between people. As you notice in our example, we have two people with same posture, but their difference is their facial expression. The little girl is wearing a frown face, while the other one, even if she's crossing her arms, still smiling. The same posture but different expression gives another meaning. The fourth one is linguistic or alphabetic. This refers to written or spoken words. It concludes word choice, delivery of written or spoken text, the organization of words into sentences and paragraphs, and the development of coherence of words and ideas. Speech, encyclopedia, research, and many more are examples of this. Fifth, spatial. The spatial mode refers to the arrangement of elements in space. It involves the organization of items, the physical closeness between people and objects, or what we call proximity. As you can see in examples there, we have a physical structure of a classroom where you can see the chairs have social distancing, the board is at the center of the room, not in the sideways, because everything that will be put on the board and the teacher in front is the center of the class. While the lower picture, the two boys, they are close. Their proximity is close to one another. You don't do that if you are not friends with persons. So that is spatial.
Let's see if you really understood our lesson earlier. To the following pictures, identify whether it is visual, audio, gestural, linguistic, or spatial. Good luck! Now, let us check if your answers are correct.
For number 1, our answer is spatial. As you can see, men are in line, meaning they are in ceremony or something. Second, it is visual. Why? Because the red circle there means stop, and we have a symbol of smoking, so it is no smoking. The third, linguistic, because it is a newspaper where language is being used critically. The fourth one, we have gestural. Yes, it is visual, but as you can see, as you look at the picture, you can imagine that someone is crying in front of you or scratching their eyes. That's why it is gestural. And last, this is audio because that is the symbol or it means sound.
Very good! Give yourselves a round of applause for doing so great. Let's recall our discussion earlier. Multimodal is the combination of written text, spoken language, plus patterns of meaning. And there have 3 categories, which are digital multimodal text, live multimodal text, and visual multimodal text. And we have discussed also the 5 elements or modes of the multimodal text. So first, we have the visual. Second, we have the oral. The third, we have the gestural. Fourth, we have the linguistic. And 5, we have the spatial.
Those are the things that we have learned. But remember that multimodal elements are not only useful in our lesson today, but it is being used and can be used in our daily life as we go to places, as we cross the streets, and many more.
Very good! Surely you already know our multimodal text. Now, let us transcribe the following emojis in your text and find out what is the meaning of the article.
Let's find out the answers.
If you have clarifications and questions about our lesson, do not hesitate to call, to text, or to PM me in my social media account. For our today's lesson, you will be giving an output. Let's find out what it is.
Using the images, write a script or presentation. Don't forget to use the 5 elements of multimodal text.
Let's assess your learnings for today. Answer the 5-item questions and please send it in my Messenger account.
Time's up. Here are the answers.
For your assignment, let's do this. After you have done your script earlier, you will make a very short video or infomercial about how are you going to be safe in this COVID-19 pandemic. Do not forget to use our 5 elements of multimodal text to be guided by the following rules.
To enlighten us on what are we going to do, let's watch this.
When it comes to reducing the spread of COVID-19, we all have a role to play. By staying vigilant and following a few important tips, we'll stay safe together. Proper hand hygiene and not touching your face are critical. Wash your hands often with soap and water, especially after you've been in a public place. If soap and water are not available, use a hand sanitizer. Another critical but simple safety guideline is social distancing. Set an example by not gathering in groups or in crowded places and keep a minimum of 6 feet away from others when in public. You should also stay vigilant by cleaning and disinfecting your home regularly, especially frequently touched surfaces. For example, objects like doorknobs, light switches, and faucets, or surfaces like countertops, tables, and desks, and even technology like your phone, keyboards, and remote controls. Remember that following these universal guidelines and reminding your friends and families to do the same will lessen the impact and spread of COVID-19.
Thank you, grade 10 students. It was truly a meaningful learning experience to be with you all today. This is once again your teacher, Adriana S. Lugaay, saying that the most important thing in communication is hearing what it is not being said. Thank you. God bless and keep safe, everyone.